Greetings, this is Sacred from OmniGeometry. Welcome to this introduction video to new features in OmniGeometry version 1.3.10. In this video we're going to be taking a quick look at the new features, some of the new features in this new version that was just released. So let's begin. The first major new feature is the ability to scale the user interface. So here we have the view menu, we have the scale user interface that we can use to scale the UI bigger or smaller, or we can use on Mac the keyboard shortcuts also. So with this you can freely set the size of the user interface to your liking, and if you're a grandpa or somebody with a little trouble seeing the UI, this will make the OmniGeometry a lot more easier to use, and this will also enable usage on a 4K or other high resolution displays. So and generally make OmniGeometry a lot more usable, as you can now see things better. So I like to use this with a little bit of scaling, like maybe something like that, so I can have a nice view here. Another new feature is this canvas zooming support. So here we have a very simple scene. Just let's create something very simple here, so we can just have something here. So we have this canvas zoom button here. So if I click here, I can see the current zoom level. And we also have this whole new toolbar here, which shows you the current canvas resolution and the zoom level. So with this, I can, by clicking on the minus button here, I can change the zoom level of the canvas. So this means if I set this scaling to 50%, then I close this and I change the canvas size, and we can, with this we can fit a lot more pixels on your display without being limited by the window size like previously. So we also have this button to click to fill the canvas size into the window. If I click this, it will now fill the canvas to the window exactly. So with this you can very easily now create high resolution versions of your scenes. So as you can see, we now have a scene with over 5K in resolution, and when we export that, it will now also show the export size here, and related to that, we also have a lot new options to set the export sizes. So you can now specify the units from pixels to millimeters to inches, so you can export images that are easier to fit into printing purposes. For example, if I set the units to millimeters, I can now see that this would take like 1.8 meters in size to print. So and then we have a lot of presets here also to match common print sizes used by printers and different standards. For example, the A4 paper size can be chosen here, and it will show you, okay, with this dots per inch you're gonna have this kind of export size. And I can also choose easily here the print dots per inch DPI, which will increase the resolution to this. So now you don't have to manually calculate this anymore. You can just use this easy export tool to match your print resolutions. And also what this enables now is it enables high resolution tracing. So now we have, let's change that to lighter. Now we can trace this, and that's quite ugly. Let's try something else. For example, this, just a simple example. So this is now enabling high resolution tracing images finally. So if you export this, it will now export a high-res traced image that can be used for printing also, and you can even like go crazy and do like very high res, like over 10,000 pixels, and trace these images. But it's gonna get a little bit slow with this kind of resolution, so you might wanna first test out with a lower resolution, and then when you find a nice pattern, come back to a high resolution image and trace it. So yeah, 10,000 pixels is already very big. So, but anyway, here we can also reset the scaling. So now you see actually the detail is pretty nice here, and you get that full resolution tracing when you export. So that is very nice for any artists using OmniGeometry. Also, we have the 10,000 pixels here, so we have this mouse mode for panning the canvas also, of course. So now you can actually pan the canvas and see the whole canvas like this if you need to modify it. To center the panning, just drag it towards the center of the screen, and it will lock there, or you can use view and reset canvas pan. So let's now fit the window size to the screen, so we have better performance. Alright, so that was it for the high resolution tracing. Then what we have is new parameters for hue rotation range and hue rotation mode. I'm gonna quickly demonstrate this just by showing what happens when I enable rotating hue and then animating here. So now you can see it's rotating the hues like before, but if I set this hue rotation range, for example, to 180 degrees, it means it's gonna be rotating the colors 180 degrees from red to green, or actually like a blue. If I set it to 360, it's gonna rotate the hues from red and back to red. So it's gonna go through all the colors. So with 180, it's gonna only take the half way distance, or if I even half that to 90, now it's rotating only from red to like this violet color. So with this, what you can do is really control your hue rotation much better. And let's showcase a little bit about this. So if I had to set the hue velocity a little bit smaller here, so you can see what it's doing. Let's do something like this, for example. Alright, that's nice. So like you can see, it's now rotating the color linearly from blue to red or violet. If I set it, for example, 30, it's gonna be even like just in a range of blue color. So this combined with the ability to change the color, for example, if I set it to green and then animate, now you can see it's animating on the green to blue range. And if I set to for example yellow, it's going to be animating on yellow to green. So with this you can do really nice like pulsating color effects. And let's put that to something so you can see it easier. If you change the line color, it will like change the rotation range also. But if you interactively, if you rotate the color hues while animating hues, it's gonna stop the rotation, like you see. If I enable that and use the keyboard shortcuts bracket keys to rotate the hues, then it will stop the hue rotation animation, because because of technical reasons how that works. So if you rotate colors while animating manually, you have to enable the rotate hues again to continue the animation. But let's look at the hue rotation mode parameter. So here we have the hue rotation mode parameter, which controls how it is animated. So now if I set this to a little bit faster so you can see, now it's just going from one color to the end of the other color and then back to the start of the one color, from green to yellow, from green to yellow, from green to yellow. If I set it to sine, it's gonna go from blue to violet, from blue to violet, using a sinusoidal curve while it's doing that. This is doing it linearly, which means it's just there is no easing into the animation. If I set it to linear two-way, which is the default, it will go back and forth linearly. If I set it to sinusoidal two-way, it will go back and forth but with this kind of bouncing curve, or a curve controlling the back and forth movement. With this you can see very easily what it's doing. If I, for example, set that to a higher value, the hue velocity. And this for example, combined with that tracing effect, can create some nice effects that I'm gonna show a little bit here. For example, you will create this kind of controlled traces, like you get the gradients coming out of these patterns here. You can see it very simply here, like this, and with a different way it will do something different, like a different pattern. So play around with this, and this already changes a lot of things for the animation. You can add a lot of more depth to your scenes with this. I'm gonna go much more into detail this in another tutorial video where we're gonna create some nice pulsating color effect. So that was it for the hue rotation. Then we have the canvas size toolbar. So let's do something. We have added this canvas size toolbar here. So if you click on this, you can now easily set the canvas size. And we have added this ratio preset here. So for example, if you want to make the image square easily, I can just select this 1:1 ratio and set, and now we have a square canvas. So it's with this it's easy to fit the current size to some aspect ratio you are perhaps working with or exporting to. So for example, to 16:9, I just choose this and it calculates the width so that it fits the height, like this. And or perhaps for mobile screens they use this ratio, so this could be fitted on a mobile background easily, for example. And then a couple of new features also, which I'm gonna load another scene to demonstrate here. This one, we have added also these two new parameters called tracing frame rate and animation speed multiplier. So let me show you what we got going here. Let's increase. We have this very simple formation with some points being drawn with variable arc lengths there. You can see like this, it's actually just points, but with shorter arc length there, so it creates this kind of nice effect when tracing. So we have the animator speed multiplier, which controls the global animation speed. So if I set this to 0.5, it's gonna halve the speed, and so on. So with this you can very easily try out different animation speeds, so you don't have to individually change the scale or rotation velocities. So let's set that back to 1, and let's look at the tracing frame rate parameter. This is by default 60, or it is actually detected to match your screen refresh rate. So I'm running on a 60 Hz display, so the tracing frame rate is gonna be 60 on. And what that means is, now if I trace the image, let's change the line weight a little bit so we get a smoother effect. You can see it's now tracing one iteration of the tracing on each frame. So it runs on at 60 Hz. You don't have to care about that. Basically, it just means that the tracing stepping between the these traces is being controlled by this parameter. So if I set this to 120, for example, then you can see now the gap is much smaller between these traces, and with this you can create very beautiful tracing patterns and control the tracing much better than before. And for example, let's try a little bit more, 240, and we have presets here also for most common like display refresh rates. And why is it just set to these hertzes, I mean frequencies, is because if it runs natively on a 240 Hz display, then this is gonna be by default 240. So here you can see it's already creating a much more detailed trace effect here. We can even zoom in and see a little bit more closer. So with this you can really, sometimes it creates this Moira effect. So with that you want to test out different values for, let's just go back, test out different values for that to find out what is good for you. So if I trace this for a while, you can see it creates this a very smooth effect. And actually, if I wanna go back to the saved version, we now have this also this revert to saved feature here. So I choose that, and it will revert to the version I had saved before. This only works in the offline version. So here we have now tracing frame rate set to 12, which means it's gonna trace with a very big gap between these, and I can increase that while doing it, so you can see what it does, like this. Like that. Yeah. So those are the major new features in this version, and we're gonna go in depth with the hue rotation range parameter still. And we have also moved some of the parameters to the anim and effects tab here, so it's easier to see the animation parameters on one page and make it less cluttered. There's a lot of more new improvements also in this version. You can check out the change log, blog for full details on the changes. So this was Sakari from OmniGeometry, and hope you enjoyed this version, and we're very happy about what you can already do this, and we're excited to see what you come up, especially with the high resolution tracing images and combined with the hue range and trace frame rate. I'm gonna feel a lot of people are gonna find some very beautiful designs through that. So without further ado, Happy New Year to you, and may new beginnings bring you everything that you need in your life, all the blessings, all the resources, all the people, everything you need. I have a good feeling about this year, and I'm happy to provide people with a tool to connect to these patterns, to make beautiful things, to share that beauty in the world. That is truly what we need. Anyway, this was Sakari signing off. Bye bye.